Right, hello guys. Hate doing these videos, but hopefully they help. Keep getting asked questions and part numbers. There's not a lot to part number wise. It's mainly tyres and just the roll cage and the scent and mounts. So this is a Senton that I'm building into a rally car for somebody. Yeah, so let's try and get this done as quickly as possible with what I've done over time with the rally and what's been looked at tyre wise. So first off, so this is a Senton. And what I've done with it is, these are normal Senton mounts with the pins cut off and a bit of this pipe. So obviously if you get this pipe, you'd have to measure the thickness of these mounts so that you get the right bore, because you have to heat this up and slide it over the top. And then what I do is get hold of some screws. Some people use R clips, and you'll drill a hole through where the original hole is and put your screws through, which holds it on, which gives you a bit of flex, which saves the body, and it gets you the height that you want. So these are normal centre mounts, but you've got 4 rear mounts there. Basically fitting the body, what I do is there's 2 bodies that fit the Senton quite well, and that's the 205 and the 405, in respect to Delta Plastic 1/8 bodies. They're all the 1/8 ones are set up for a 310 by 325 long wheelbase. So if I get this ruler, what have we got here? That's 300. Where's my tape measure? I should have got this ready before. Let's have a look. Flip that over. This may not be that accurate because it may turn the front wheel, which will throw it out a bit. But you've got like 3 from centre to centre is 327, 28 at the minute in millimetres. And the width, let's spin it over so it's easy for you guys to see. And depending on, because of the towing in on the rear wheels, you could say this comes out 287. So 310, that's a long way off 310. If I sort of half that, look at the difference you got at the end of the tape measure. It's from my thumb at this end to the gap at this, so you're gapping either side, and there's a lot of lag on this camera because I'm trying to look at a screen to see whether you guys can see what I'm trying to show you. So you've got that. Some cars, I mean the cars that we've done, I've seen Techno buggies done, I've seen Lossy buggies done, the Typhon done. I know someone who's done the 3S Typhon and Senton. Hopefully I'll be able to put information on what mounts he's used on the end of the video. For the 3S range, we'd like to use 6S range though, or a buggy with a metal chassis. I've done some Thunder Tiger ones, which I've used this. This is part of an Arrma chassis cut out. So, and it just happens the Thunder Tiger, well, all the ones I've done, the bearings on the centre diff are the same size as the Arrma ones. So you can literally get an Arrma diff, or well, the Arrma diff mount, and fit on the centre. And all you'll do is put that on the Thunder Tiger chassis, and I line up this corner hole, and then that'll be centralised, and I'll clamp it in place, make sure it's straight, and then I get a small drill bit and drill the centres of these, and then I gradually work them out to the full size, and then that allows me to put the Arrma motor mount on, which then of course the advantage of that is a roll cage. This is the Centon roll cage. This is the Creighton roll cage, I believe, which is a lot smaller. Height wise it's lower as well. Look, that's how high it would be if you bolted it on. It's actually probably 15 mil lower, 10-15 mil lower. So anyways, trying to remember everything so I don't miss anything. A lot of people already know this maybe, but I still get calls off of people or messages saying what parts did you use or whatever. So the other thing is when you're doing a buggy, a 1/8 buggy, I mean some 1/10 cars are the same size, aren't they? But I don't know everything, but I know that a lot of the buggies come with, they're like shims in here. So if going on the wheelbase, I told you, basically the 1/8 scale Delta plastic bodies are 325 by 310 wide. So if you got something within that range, if you measure your buggy at home and you see what it comes back with, you know you can fit a 1/8 body, whether it's a road or a rally or whatever's, if it's one of their 1/8 range. But a lot of them come with spacers in there. Oh, you can see that. You can't see it that well, but the shims alongside the hub. Now say you had a car that didn't have the shims and it was too long or too short, what you could do is chop a bit out of the arm or a bit out of the hub. I'm not suggesting you do this. I would probably do it if I needed to. Chop either a bit out of the, you could chop a bit out of the arm and move the hub in the direction that's going to give you the wheelbase that you want. Obviously you can't go too far with that because you're going to move the shock across when the arm moves, or maybe the hub, it'll move the drive shaft out too much, but you should be able to get it. But more often than not, you can work the bodies to fit. So once I've got all the mounts on it, obviously all I've had to do with this is adjust these rear mounts like that. The front ones, sometimes when you get a body, these mounts on the front, they angle back. And sometimes you'll get a body and there's a detail in the moulding of the body, and it means you won't want your clips to come up through the body there, your posts to come up through the body there. So you can always undo this and put it on the other way round, and then it'll fall in a different place. But the other thing I've done in the past is I made this up. So it's angle alley from Wicks's or wherever's, a bit of angle alley, and these are another Arrma mount, and they normally bolt onto an Arrma. I don't know what ones they are, so if you went on Model Sport, somewhere like that, and you have a look through all the different 6S Arrma range until you find these mounts, and basically they bolt on with 2 bolts, and then the post goes in like that. So that bolts to your shock tower, whichever way round you want to put it. You could even put it on this side like that, or you can put it on, go back that way on the other side of the shock tower, which gives you another 5 mil that way if you like, or you can come all the way out that side. You have to check everything, like your shocks are going to clear and everything when you do this, but that's one of my old ones. And the reason why I had to make this up is because, say this is your bonnet here on the body, and then your wheel arch is really, from the surface of the bonnet to the top of your wheel arch, really narrow, then if you don't get the body right down on the car, you're going to end up with a massive gap in the wheel arch. So I had to make this up to get it lower, as low as possible. These have been adjusted since, so they're up a little bit, but I did have them lower than that. So there's that way of doing things. The body for this, so the parts, the 6S centre parts, I will give you the part numbers for these body post mounts at the end, and the wheels and tyres. Now building it up, when I do the bodies, what I'll do is I'll get one of this is the 205 that I'm doing for someone. It's got to be painted the same colours. He's got an off-road truck set up, and his vehicles are all done in the same colours. This is like a real off-road truck, and he wants his car done in the same colours with the team name on it and that. So what I'll do is I'll get the body, I'll cut the bulk of the skirt off of it. I mean, I've left a bit on this one, I'm probably going to leave it on there. You can see there's the proper line where it should be cut. But normally what I'll do is I'll cut a bit of the skirt off so you haven't got the flat bit sticking out the bottom of the shell. So I'll cut all that off. Then I'll cut the most of my wheel arches out, so you've taken most of it out. Then I go and wash it with a sponge and dishwasher soap, dishwash soap or whatever, fairy, oops, yeah, whatever. And because if you start scouring it with one of these, right, some of the bodies have more release agent so they release from the mould than others. And what I found with one was that I didn't wash it first, I scoured it, and what it does, it scours all the gunk that you can't see into the scratch bits where it's keyed up, where you want the paint to stick in. So the paint never stuck in the bits, so I may as well have not scoured it. I just made a right mess. The paint went on fine, but it also come off easier. So wash all the body out once I've cut it roughly, and obviously I've mounted it, so I cut it roughly and I'll mount it. So I cut the most of the arches out, and I can't really mount this because but you'll line your arches up so your wheels are not sticking out. Well, they're sticking out even, or they're all even all the way round, front to back, all looks good. You'll set the body posts at the height you think they're going to need to be, allowing for the drop after the post drop through the holes. And you've got your arch gap. And the other way of doing it is push the body right down till the chassis bottoms out on the table, and have a look to see if your arches are rubbing on the tyres. Now, some cars' arches will rub on the tyres when they bottom out, because when the cars come back off of unloaded suspension, but it's sat under its own weight with a battery in it. That's the other thing, always put the battery in it. You don't want massive gaps in the arches, do you? You've made this nice body, it's sat across the room, it's got massive great big gaps, or you sit on the line, it's got massive great big gaps under like in the wheel arches. So and the problem with having big gaps is, say you didn't check your body post heights and then you drill all your holes, and then you realise that the back post's too high or the front post too high, or they're both too high. If you have to drop one set of posts more than the other, as you drop the posts, it tips the arches towards the wheels, if you see what I mean. So suddenly it throws all your nicely, perfectly cut arches out. So it's important to get the body post at the height you want. So you'll cut you'll cut all the skirt off, but leaving some on for adjustment. You'll cut all your arches out, but leaving some on for just so it gives you a closer fit to the tyre to get your front to back. Then get your height of your post right. And what I'll do is, I have cut it all out now, but I've already fitted this body and I know it's at the height I want. So once I'd cut a rough amount off, leaving some on there, I've got the post at the right height, then made my holes in the body, and then I knew it was all going to work. So then I trimmed the rest off. One of my friends showed me that if you sand the edge of the body and like round the arches, because say you're cutting it with scissors and you get a little split, what can happen is, if you haven't sanded that split out, it can fracture at that point. if it ever gets clobbered, just right on a sweet spot, and then it'll split. So sanding them smooth, I think that just makes sense on the edges. This is, yeah, so this is all ready. As for body fitment, what bodies fit what, which I've done loads of this before, the 205 fits the Senton better because let's do away with this one for the minute. This video's going to go on for ages. Right, that is the Typhon. Right, this is the Senton. I have seen the 205 fitted on a Lossy and a Techno. So there's the two, you can't really see them that well. But if I turn the Typhon over and I measure across the back wheels, I've got, with 0 offset wheels, I've got 300 across the back. Across the front, some cars are wider on the back than the front. Wider on the front than they are at the back. I think the Hebeo is, possibly. So that's 300. But bear in mind the arms are at full extension, so as you squash the arms, the chassis gets wider. Once the arms are level, the chassis will be at its widest. Now, so that was 300. Now this car's got massive like wide tyres on it, and there is a bit of an offset. And it's still coming in at 295. So I've made it nearly as wide as the Typhon, but the Typhon, when the suspension's really high on that at the minute, so if it got level, these arms get level like that, the car gets to its maximum width at that point. Right, so you have to, but anyway, so the 205 and 405 fit a narrower, they fit better on a narrower car, but all the 1/8 Delta Plastics bodies will fit roughly 325, 310 wide. So that's that. Now I'll get back to my builds in a minute, I think. What have I got to do? So basically I'll start with that, and the sentence started out like that. And I've used materials like this. It's a roll of plastic I've got, and this is what I've done. Now Scorched do a good fender kit, and I would have bought one, but it's just me. They are really good. My friend's got one in his Mojav, and I think it saved him because they're so strong, the inner arches. When he's hit the body on a curb, the body would have normally collapsed in and he'd have ripped the wheel off of it, but the inner arch protected, it kept that body rigid, so it actually deflected off the curb without putting too much pressure on the wheel. But with my rally cars, what I've been doing is I'll get some of this. Now I've got loads more of this, but if you ever had a piece of this, I bolt it onto the 4 holes there, and I have it the same length as the chassis is, like from there to there. And so I get bolted on there. Then obviously it's better if the wheels are out of the way, and I cut it up there at that angle, both sides, and then I'll fold it up past that, and the tassels I'll only cut till there, and then when you fold that up, it brings the other bits that you haven't cut back in here, and then I just like literally gorilla tape them on here. It's not great. Ideally I'd say Scorched arch kits, great, and I'll show you what I would have done on a Scorched arch kit though. If I got one, what I'd be wanting to do on it, whether he do some more to what he's doing, I don't know, because what I've noticed is, this is my 205 rally build, and that's how it's ended up. So I use this as packing foam, which is a camping bed. They're cheap enough. The other thing I've got is some, well, I haven't got much of it left, but this foam. But I think someone said you can get yoga block foam, and they give you a big block of it, and I suppose you just cut it to the shapes you want. But see, I've padded the whole car out there. That's there. It's just a normal centre back end with a sliver of this, which come out of a camper conversion. This come out of a van. It was a lining of a van. Now it's shatterproof, as you can see. Stanley knife. I've clobbered it on the edge of a hammer and everything, but you can heat it, you can bend it, kink it, get the heat on it, cool it down, and it will hold its form. But I've also got this foam as well, which I've used for packing. So there's all that stuff. I can't really help with the foam too much, only yoga block and the camping bed foam. But you don't have to do all this, because a lot of people will just have that and they'll put a body on it, and that's it, and their bumpers touch at either end, and that's how they do it. I mean, the first one I done, I think I did try and put foam here and here and on the front and back bumpers, which I cable tied on or taped on. But talking about that lower piece, see, on this it's a bit more difficult because it's carbon fibre chassis, and I didn't want to put the plastic over the top, so I've literally taped it here. How long it'll last I don't know, but so it goes out that way up past there, and I've folded the other bits back in, taped them together. But you got a full inner arch kit. Now ideally, if you put a scorched one on it, it'd be great because it bolts on properly. But there's only one thing I'd say about that, not knocking them or anything, because I think it saved my mate's truck. They're really good. I would definitely have one. Is there seems to be a big void in here where if your wheels were turned like that, it can be spraying mud up into the car. Now there's nothing wrong with that, but I mean, if I got a set, I'd be putting a bit of this plastic in there, or hopefully maybe do a bit of plastic that bolts in between and blocks that right off. Because I have actually recently done a rally video in the snow with the Subaru, and when I brought it in, there was all snow in here, clogged right up, like anyone who's driven in snow would know. But in here there was nothing, absolutely nothing inside my car at all. So that is why I've done it, so that if I want to go out and drive through water and mud and everything, it's going to keep it all out. But as you can see, look at all the foam packing I've done on mine. So not really necessary. Well, it is in my mind, it's necessary, but I'm the only person who does that. So the hard plastic, I've cut it back so it doesn't touch the body, and then I've put it's just like the really flimsy duct tape, and they just, because the harder plastic won't bend round the inside of the car shell and it would distort it, I've cut it right back so it doesn't touch. Then I've done this stuff so it does, so that you've got a perfect seal around the body. So that's just what I've done with that. Now, so that's the centre's relatively easy to do, because you just got to add the rear posts how you want them. And the Typhon, what you have to do with the Typhon, oh, I've knocked my camera, we're having a disco sort of thing going there, is oh, that's the other thing I've done. I've bent the ends of the clips here, and I've got a file, because when you buy new clips, they seem to have, like, if you cut metal, it has a sharp, they can be a bit sharp sometimes. So I've filed the edges all the way round and bent the end up, and this helps on the Mojave as well, because especially if you fit the Scorch kit, you find you have to put, with the Mojave mounts, you have to squash the body and have your hand under the pin there, the post, to get them in. But where I've bent them at an angle and they curl up, I can sort of push it down at that angle like that, and then sort of twist it up and straight in, and they go in a lot easier like that. And I also got hold of some thick clear sticker to put over the top of this, so that I'm only damaging the sticker and not the body, and it also helps strengthen it up. All the bodies, I didn't really show you inside that body, but I use on the front of this as well, there's some of that plastic that I've heated. I just made a front bumper out of it. So to do that, I can't find the other bumper. Basically, you'll get a bit of plastic alongside the bolt holes, and you'll do a line for the centre with a fine pen, like a biro or something, because the finer the line, the more accurate it'll be to the hole. Right, so you'll mark it there and there, and then you'll go this way on, and you'll mark it there and there, and then you get a set square or ruler. So to do this, you'd want a big chunk of plastic. I'm sure you can buy this somewhere, but that's what I've done anyway. I'd have used a bit about that wide, and I'd have cut this shape into it first, and then offered it up to the car, and then do the bends. And as they come round, the other thing is, it's difficult getting this meeting point, the last fold, so you fold it at the right point, so it leaves you room to put foam in just at the right point in the body, because the last thing you want is it pushing the body right out here like that. It just look, so it's got to be just right. The fold's got to be right, just at the right point. So you can make bumpers up. It's very similar plastic. I've got a T-bone plastic bumper somewhere, I think it is, and it feels like there's exactly the same material. So I don't know what kind of material that is. I've made several things out of it, like this, for instance. Let's move that out of the way. That's a whole chassis tray made, so the body velcros on. This is a car I'm making for someone. I've done that. It probably won't work. Bit of a wing, obviously it all needs sanding and painting, but that's the underneath, all made like that. So it's really versatile stuff, that. Anyway, so there's the bumpers, how I've made the bumpers. I've showed you what I've used for foam. And inner arches, if you really want to make your inner arches, just get hold of some thin plastic. Oh yeah, of course, once you've done that folding up of the sides, you'll screw it on, fold it up here, and then you'll return it back that way, tape it on the underneath, and then I've put tape on the inside, proper Gorilla tape, and it comes up here. You'll cut it to shape, and then what I'll do with this is I'll get a bit, obviously, off my roll, and I'll cut all the bits out. I think on one of these, all you need to do is you need to slot it down past that rear brace, and it'll drop right down into there, like so, if you like, and you can just fix it to that inner bit that you've just done. And you'll put big holes in it round the post, which you can then put Gorilla tape over after, but then it sits inside the body and gives you that. It does keep a load of gear out, so that's, yeah, that's that. the inner arches, I don't know whether you can really see them. I'd have to take the wheels off really, but in the back there, like that. Let me see if I've got a light here somewhere, which might help. Long video, but if you're interested in it, you'll and seeing how all the bits are done, you'll watch it, I suppose. Yeah, the arches go right down in there. The lag on the camera's a nightmare. Right. So that's how I do the body. Wash it. So you do the cuts the way I said. You'll wash it, dry it with a bit of kitchen paper towel. Whatever you do, don't go and pick up whoever's tea towel off the side that could have oil on it or whatever, and then go and dry it with that, because that's another mistake. And don't touch anything that may have oil on it, because as soon as you put it on the body, that's your lot. And that's for anyone, you know, who hasn't done bodies. I know there'll be a lot of people out there who've done all this stuff before and can do it 50 times better than anyone else. I know, but I'm just trying to help people that have asked me. So now what can we cover now? So that's that as it is. So you can just mount your body on like that. Gorilla tape, I use proper Gorilla tape. Little ad there again in it. I don't know if you get in trouble for doing this, but yeah, Gorilla tape, the one with the actual Gorilla on it, with Gorilla written on it, not duct tape. It's flimsy. Don't use it unless you're putting it round the flange bits on the arches. Right, so that was that. When it comes to the Typhon, right, here we go. Now this one has got no body post coming through the shell. So, and I've actually, it's got Italian shocks on it, which means it's sitting a bit high at the back at the minute. All the springs are wound right off, but it's sitting a little bit high on the back. But by the time I get the battery in it and it accelerates, it sits at a perfect, well, it looks perfect. I'm yet to run it, if we ever get to run, so Velcro, I used Home Base proper Velcro, the branded one, heavy duty, 7 kilo. Don't use too much because I couldn't get it off, couldn't get the bloody body off. And what I've done is it's got Velcro on the sides, Velcro on the front, and it is, yes, all right, it's a bit of a pain. I know someone told me not to do this because I wanted to try it, so yep, I did try it, and I don't know, we'll see how it works out. But it's Velcroed on the window, and it's Velcroed along the bonnet here underneath. And what I decided to do, oh, that sticky Velcro's come off. It's because the camera's here, I can't get right in on the action. I don't want you seeing me my haircut and all that, my COVID cut. Get all that up in the camera, eh? Right, so there's the Gorilla tape. There's the Velcro. I've put the coarse Velcro on this side. Save it. If anything happened, it'd be an abrasive on the inside of the body. So everywhere I could get Gorilla tape, I've put it right down. It also helps if once you've put it on, if you use a hairdryer on it. But that takes, you get used to doing it after a while. It saves the body. Look, twisted all up. And you can't really see it because the car's in the way. And you can hear the sound it makes. Instead, it's just so much better. Right, so that's the body. So it's been velcroed there as well. Bring back to the car. What do you do to the Senton or any normal buggy to build it up? So to do this, typical if I can't find a bit of the plastic, there it is. I had some of this kicking around as well. Unbelievable. You should see my shed, it's full up with all sorts of rubbish. Right, this is like a polypropylene or something, plastic. And what I do is I drill a hole up into this, the same size as the post. And I'll cut it just a little bit longer than the post. I'll offer this other car up here so you can see that. So I drill a hole in the middle and it won't come all the way through, it'll start coming through, and I'll do it about like that. So when I push it down on there, I can put a drill back through this way, through the hole in there, which then allows me to put a bolt straight through this end, through the hole in the top of the post, leaving me with that basically. And I've taped over it and then put my Velcro on it, and that's how I've done the Velcroing on of the body. Should be able to work that out. Now then, foam and load of plastic again. People will love it. They'll be taking the mick good and proper with all this. And look at this, scorched, right? Just look at that. It's amazing. You're like, oh dear. Yeah, see, this is how it's done, mate. A bit of plastic thrown around it like that. No, honestly, I've seen them on the Mojave and they're awesome. They're really nice. There was just a void in here a bit, and I felt the front wheels, and after seeing people's cars, not knocking it, but I'm saying that it did, to me, some dirt had got in, and this is my poor attempt at doing it. Yours is obviously brilliant, but there was too much of a void in here. I think if they could be blocked off, if I got a set, if I weren't such a cheapskate, I'd have put a set on here. I did actually speak to the man, and I was going to get a set from a Mojave, but I didn't in the end. And the Mojave copped a load of plastic and sticky back plastic, something like out of Blue Peter, I think. But anyway, there's my bumpers. So I've made bumpers up. This is like T-bone, sorry, I sort of copied the shape there. Get that off the one I had kicking around, but I've done the folds. You can see on the bumper here, the bit that's extra, I've chopped this and left the extra bit there, and it only comes up to there. So I've got a full-on bumper. But I mean, with the Peugeot or the Subaru, that body fits, it's padded everywhere. The only problem with this one is I haven't got anything coming through the roof there, which is a bit of a shame. I have thought about future making a bit of a roll cage somehow. Not really got round to it yet, but yeah. So there's that. The posts, yeah, like I said, I'll give you a part number list at the end. So there's that. Where's the body? Chuck this body back on. Too much Velcro on it, to be fair. Right, let's see what happens. This is quite tricky because I've added so much Velcro. It's getting it left to right in line, centralising the wheel arches. Right, so there's that, boom. She's all on there like that now. Right, so parts, this is the difference with the there's my arches on this one. I know, I wish I'd had, if I'd had black Gorilla tape, it would have been better, wouldn't it? Cheapskate, I didn't buy any more. Anyway, these are the bits I've got to show you. I put them down somewhere now, I won't find them, will I? So typical. Where did I put them? Here we go. These are Typhon shock towers, right? which the centre ones are different. And what I've got in the bag here is I have the centre body mounts. Where are they? So some people have used the Traxxas. Now this bit is for the Typhon, and when you put it on, it goes on the rear here. You can see on the centre, and it hooks over the top of the diff there, and it enables you to still bolt it on but remove the wing off the Typhon. So these will go on your Typhon. Now, if I've got that other mount there somewhere, this is it. Right, now then, you got your 3 normal holes for the shocks at the top there, and oh, that's a rear again, isn't it? So I need the front. I have bits everywhere. So these are centre body mounts. Now, you look, the Typhon one's different, the tower's different. So what we do is, if you look there, you can see it sort of lines up. It lines up with the V there. So what I've done is, you'll get a Stanley knife and just literally cut across there down to this bed here, and then you slice it that way and take all of that extra bit off, and it just literally sits down on top. So at the minute it won't fit because it's not right. So if I cut that, for example, roughly, well, try and get it right, I don't want to mess it up. So there's that. Of course, never cut towards your hands, like, don't try this at home. There's that. There is loads of other ways, like you see I made one out of angle alley and bolted bits on. So I've sort of cut that off. Right, so now we should be, there you go, boom. And you've got the holes that would normally be a stock positioning for your shocks, right? And you've nearly got these 2 holes here. Now what I done was I managed to get them screws in there anyway, because you'll line these ones up first, but you don't have to run them. Just the shock ones are ample, and maybe if you put one in there, in that centre one, and then you've got it on there like that. I found that if you have this on the front, where say your shocks were here, you have to shave a curved bit out of here. Mine have been like it for ages, they've never broke, and that's so the shocks pass there. But there's the front one done, just like that. And you can always file some of this alley off with a file, because it's not going to hurt if you file it off. I did with this. This was quite badly damaged, so I just filed it, which tidied it up. The rear one, again, the rear one is a similar shape, but doesn't fit. See, when you do this, you're going to end up with a little gap at either end. See, you got a little gap there, and it's sitting flush on them angled up bits, but you've got a gap here as well. So what you got to do is you've got to judge, you've literally got to cut from that tip there straight down, yeah, to this bed, and then you're going to hack all that straight off with the knife, how I did the other one. So let's quickly do that. This is if you're doing an Arrma. If you're doing another car, then you could make mounts up like I've done the alley ones, front and back. I think some people have used Traxxas body posts, and they've somehow bolted them to the towers, and I think they've been used on, might have been used on the 3S Typhon to get rally bodies on. A friend of mine's done, he's done the Typhon and the Senton 3S, I think, just to see what they're going to go like. But through what we've learnt when we made the rallies, I know people have made rallies before and they use them on tarmac, and some people use them off-road. But what you've got to bear in mind, there's off-road, and how many different off-road surfaces are there? There's loads of different off-road surfaces. So we tried to build rally and get it to drive what we considered rally to be on grass and mud. So to do that, we had to, well, it wasn't me, a friend of mine done all the work on the tyres, researching the tyres. God knows, I looked at the amount of tyres and rims and foams he had bought, and I thought, God, could have bought a car with that. And the time gluing tyres and foams and that, unbelievable. He put a lot of effort into it. So that is still not quite fitting. So it needs more off of those. Some people might find this completely irrelevant and have to go and dye their hair back to a natural colour, because they've got really bored. Hey ho, I didn't really want to do the video, but I'm hoping it's gonna help anyone that's interested. So this is real rough work, just the way I do my stuff, always rough, bit of sellotape, you know, get the job done. Now this is a tower that I've not actually, see, I'd have probably filed some of that end off. Look how much of that's irrelevant. You could have filed most of that off anyway. The important thing is, when you do this, is to get that gap there and that gap there matching before you go drilling any holes. Now at the minute, these holes aren't lining up. So where are they? There must be an easier way, surely. Well, there probably is, but I'm just showing you my way. Yeah, they're lined up there, but then it throws the others out a long way. So what you'll be doing when you bolt this one on, you'll obviously get your centre bolt in and you'll get your shocks on, but when you're probably going to have to say, right, as long as this is where it's important to get this centralised, right, this is why it's probably better to file these ends off so they drop up into there. You can maybe file the top so it sits right up against that. I think I have done it on the other one. So you'll get that. If you don't bother doing that, make sure your gap there and your gap there is good, and this is even along the top. And then you can just put a drill down through here, right through the plastic, and when you put your shock towers on, you put your bolts through, just put a washer on the back of it to, obviously you're not changing your holes in your alley, so your shocks be in the right place, but it's important to get that centralised before drilling it. Otherwise it'll be, your tower will be like that, and your shock, I mean your body mounts will be at that angle. So that's how the Arrma Senton mounts go on the Typhon, and then you just basically put your posts on it. Right, there's that. Throw this gumpkin out. Look at the mess. God blimey. Right. tyres. Oh yeah, so there's those. And obviously a set that are on my car, but I should be able to find them anyway. Right, these are Arrma wheels. I think that's the way you pronounce it. Model Sport. Part number for those, they come on not very nice rims, but they're really cheap. Good tyre though, they've got a nice chamfered edge on. I've put them on some Arrma rims because they look quite rally, sprayed them white. They're V4, I believe. Parts. Part numbers. I bet you I won't be able to use this video. Of course, surely I must be able to, it won't matter. Right. Part numbers. Right, so if you need the roll cage, if you got V4 or newer, your Arrma will come with the mount to take the roll cage. It won't matter which one it is. It will come with them. Other than that, you're going to want this part, but this part will still fit anyway. That's the centre roll cage there, the part numbers there. There you go, that's the part number on Model Sport. None of the screws come with it, so there's a place that you can go on the internet and get loads of screws. Bournemouth RC, I'll give him a shout for that. He told me where to get these from. The only trouble is I've lost them all. They are called, of course I've got a different thing here, hang on, here we go. They're called ACCU, and they do all sorts of screws and everything, right? So you can measure the screws you want and order them off them. They're really cheap. I think you can get like 40 screws for about £6-7 or something like that. So that's one part of the roll cage, right? You could buy a Creighton one. The only bit that's different on the Creighton one is you haven't got this crisscross bit in the middle because the red centre brace bar goes through it. Anyways, there's that part number. Let's try and move along a bit quicker. If you went to a breaker's, you'd get that part of the roll cage. If they were breaking a Creighton or something, you could also use the Creighton top piece as well, and it probably do the whole lot. You could either try Bad Touch breakers or, hang on a sec, let me go and find that. Right, okay. Yeah, the other one I've used is Arc Breakers, who's sorted me out a load of bits. So so you could get Creighton parts, you could get the Creighton roll cage, you can get the V4 motor mount. Right, so moving on to this quickly for part numbers. That was the roll cage top, which I didn't show you. If this phone will bloody load up. There's the part number. I'm showing you the part numbers and the parts so you can see what they look like. Right, there's that. Especially when it comes to tyres. Right, these are the Schumacher Venoms. And you just get 2 tyres. There's the part number there, you can see it on the screen. And that is what they look like. They're the huge ones that I've got on the Peugeot, and they're on a HPI rim. Been put on a HPI rim, and you can get them in loads of nice colours, but at the minute they've only got white. There's the part number for the HPI rim. think you can see that. Hopefully that's clear enough. 103,678. And I think you can get different offsets, but make sure you get the 1/8, same as the tyres I just showed you. Make sure you go on 1/8. But if you use them part numbers, you'll be all right. These are Fast Track Eagles, which are these. $12.99 for 2. There's the part number there, like that. But these, the Venoms and these wheels here, so the Venoms, these are our intermediates for the track, right? So they're the intermediates. These are the wets, which are the Fast Track Eagles, right? Now both them tyres, I showed you the part number for the Fast Track Eagle, did I? Let's go again on that. There's the Fast Track Eagle tyre, right? There's that. And the foams were either Proline or AKAs. So we've been putting these foams there we go, them foams, we've been putting them into these, and we've been putting them into the Venoms on the HPI rims. But these, oh, I didn't get a part number for these, God's sakes. Oh, this is going to be a nightmare. Arrma, I showed you the Arrma ones, didn't I? Where were they? These ones, right, Arrma. You can get, if you go into the Arrma buggy tyres on Model Sport, you'll see loads of different Arrma ones. So that's the part number for the Arrma. There. I wish my monitor was showing a clear picture. Hopefully that's clear enough. So they're like 12 quid. You can run them like that, but you just got to keep checking that they stay glued on around the edge. It's always the outer edge that goes. The inner edge is normally all right. So that's them. What I run is I run these sweeps. They're called sweeps, I think. I run them, the Fast Tracks in the wet with the AKA foams, and the Venoms. Now when you get the Venoms, they're not on the rims. So the same that we do is you turn the wheel inside out, your brake cleaner, contact cleaner, the rubber on the inside of the tyre. Then you sand it all down like you're doing a tubeless repair or a puncture repair. Then you'll clean them again with contact cleaner, getting all the loose off. So if you sand it before you clean it, you've got loads of oil and it just smears it everywhere. So you clean it first, sand it, clean it again, and then you put Gorilla Tape that you've ripped to the right width round the inside of the tyre. I went round 2 laps and met up, so you had 1 full band. So you'd have a join there, so I went round again, I think. Or I may have just given it, no, I gave it an overlap of halfway, so half my tyre's heavier than the other. Hey ho, that's why I do so many wheel bearings, I suppose. Anyway, so the tape stops the tyre from ballooning, because if you've cleaned it and sanded it properly, the tape won't come off. And I'll do the body posts quickly. Here's the Arrma Typhon post part number for mounting your posts, but someone else is going to send me over some links for some Proline ones that they used, and maybe some pictures of how they fitted them. Right, so there's that part number. That's 11 quid, which is that's good, isn't it? And the parts are nearly, well, they're always available. They don't take long, even if they're not in like that. You could also use, this is track wise, if you're not at the track, use whatever you like, but obviously it may not drive like what we've set out to get them to drive like, which if you're not driving them like that, you may not get out of them what we're getting out of them, which is we're finding a great laugh and drives as close to what you can imagine a real rally car would drive like, the way it slides and drifts and all that. So there's these Arrma ones as well, £9 a pair, but they're out of stock. So anything with this kind of tread pattern you can use at the track if you like. I mean, the harshest tread pattern we got is these, and these are the wets, which I'll move on to now. Well, in a sec. Here we are. Here's some others. These are the gridirons, fast track gridirons. Now, I think the bloke who tested all the tyres, he may have put different foams in there, I don't know. But generally, when you get these, you can run them as they are and keep an eye on the glue, or you can cut them off one side, the inside, peel them inside out, clean them with contact cleaner, sand them. You'll also sand the edge where it's going to glue back on, and the rim. You'll wrap Gorilla Tape round the tyre, proper Gorilla Tape. And what I've done is I'll start there, I'll go right round the tyre and then back round to about halfway is what I do. You can make it 2 laps so the second lap joins if you want. But what that does, it makes the surface of the tyre harder, which generally makes it more slippery. What I've found with these is they do end up peeling, which they're a great tyre, nice looking rim, cheap, but I don't know, the rubber tends to tear off of the glue. But anyway, they're the fast track gridirons. There's the part number, and they're a tenner a pair. That's all them part numbers, gridirons, those. There's these, I've showed you the wheels and the Venom part numbers. Now these are the dry tyres, some of the tyres that we do use in the dry. I mean, you can use these gridirons in the dry if you want. You can use them in the, well, you could use them, but you won't get the car driving quite how you want. And it's the same as the Venoms. In the wrong condition, it grips different and you don't enjoy it so much. I mean, yeah, you'll get round in front of everyone probably, unless you get grip roll, but you won't enjoy the drive. Enjoying it is all being on the same tyre. These are dearer, they're 26 quid a pair, but generally, yeah, the rims are a little bit weak. I've got some that have cracked a little bit. You can see a crack there. They have had a hammering, but you do nothing to these, just as they are, 26 quid. Oops. And there is the part number there. So someone else asked for tyres, so I've ordered them some of these are Arrma ones. I'll show you these. See, they're quite hard to start with on them rims. You can get them on black rims or white rims, but there they are. They're quite a good tyre actually in the dry. On the mud and grass anyway, the way we want them to drive, they're quite good. And obviously clean the tyre, sand the tyre, clean the tyre, and then wrap Gorilla Tape around them. So these have Gorilla Tape. You could Gorilla Tape these as well, but you don't have to Gorilla Tape any of them, or change foams if you don't want to. You just find that the handling might not be quite what you're getting out of the others. So Gorilla Tape and aka foams on the Venoms, Gorilla Tape and aka foams on these, but these ones you'll have to remove off the inside, and just use anything with this sort of tread pattern. Really, nothing more aggressive than that. There's the roll cage that I've ordered for someone. They needed them bits. I couldn't get hold of the pins at the time, but I think he's going to make some pins. And these body clips are nice. The Arrma body clips on a new body. You just drill a little pinhole and it keeps your clips on there nicely, and it's a nice finish to your body. So it keeps the clips on there nice. That's that. That's it. I think we're about done. Oh, there was these tyres, but you can't get them. They're GRP 01 tyres, and I really wish you could still buy them. I got them with a second-hand nitro that I converted over to a rally, a Thunder Tiger, and they are brilliant. I've been hooning around with them for ages, and there's still like tread on them, and they do actually smoke, but you don't seem to wear them out. And I did have the Hoon tyres, which were the stock ones, the ones that first come out, and I took my rally car out on a 6S battery, done one pack, and the rear tyres were bald. So there's the comparison. This has done 2 or 3 packs on tarmac and nothing, and they're old as the hills, them, I expect. But so there's the Subaru Rally. I went with Subaru 22B. Dan, bit nice that, I think. But yeah, there's the Subaru done, the 555. For anyone that wanted a quick last look. And there's the Peugeot 205 with the, we made these up a bit like the San Remo rally stickers. They didn't turn out all that great. A lot of my stickers haven't. But the next one I'll try and do some editing and improve them. But it's got Paddlesworth Rally on it instead, and that's a T16, Dan, of course. But there you go. The one last thing left to do is clear this lot out of the way, like so. And I've had my orders, and the boss has been colouring in